And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before, but this is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet you probably...
They tried to break her. They thought intimidation would rattle the Indiana Fever. But what they didn't expect, what no one expected, was Sophie Cunningham turning their aggression into a masterclass in domination. One reckless, bone-jarring foul was all it took to set her off. And from that moment on, she didn't just play to win, she played to destroy the narrative.
This proves there is an agenda against the Indiana Fever. There is an attack agenda.
This wasn't just a preseason game. It was a warning shot to the rest of the WNBA. With Caitlin Clark sidelined, all eyes shifted to the rest of the Fever roster, wondering who would step up. The Mystics smelled weakness. Instead, they unleashed a beast. Sophie Cunningham got bodied, literally, but rose with fire in her eyes and a score to settle. What followed was a comeback soaked in grit, revenge, and one unforgettable statement. You don't mess with the Fever anymore.
This is the first time we're witnessing this. They're attacking Sophie Cunningham just like they did Caitlin last year. There is an agenda against this basketball team, and I'm calling it out right now. The league better step in immediately. They better step in immediately. We better not be dealing with what we dealt with last year with Caitlin.
And what's even crazier, the Mystics thought this was going to be an easy win. They came out swinging, throwing elbows and cheap shots like they were in a wrestling ring. But they ended the night humiliated, bullied by the very player they tried to break. So what exactly happened inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse that turned this into one of the most emotional showdowns of the year? Buckle up, because this wasn't just about basketball. This was war. And it all started with Caitlin Clark's absence.
I mean, look, the biggest thing is we got to think long term. Like, we got to make sure that we're not putting Caitlin at risk for injury. We're not putting our team in a position, where we're thinking short term and not long term. It's a long season, 4 more games than last season. So we want to make sure that we're extra cautious and put her health and wellness first and foremost. And honestly, it's been one day at a time. You know, how she's reacted to treatment, how she's reacted to workouts. So positive progress is being made, but we can't be short-sighted.
For the first time in 5 years, Caitlin Clark didn't suit up for a basketball game. That's not just a stat, it's a seismic shift. From her relentless college run at Iowa to the high-stakes spotlight of the WNBA, Clark was always there, always reliable. But on this night, she was sidelined with what the team called tightness in her left leg. A smart move from coach Stephanie White, who's thinking long-term in a grueling season with more games than ever. But smart doesn't mean painless, because without Clark, the Fever were suddenly vulnerable.
This team came out very slow, very lethargic, very stuck in the mud, very dragging ass, didn't have energy to them, didn't have flow to them.
Her absence didn't just remove 20-plus points per game, it removed the floor general, the crowd magnet, the reason 12,000 fans showed up that night. And when it was announced late that she wouldn't be playing, the mood in Gainbridge Fieldhouse shifted. The air got heavy, doubt crept in. How would this team respond without their phenom leading the charge? The answer, at first, didn't look promising. The Mystics didn't hesitate. They smelled opportunity, and they pounced.
Stephanie White seemed frustrated. We were down 15. Stephanie White called the timeout, and she must have stuck her foot up her team's ass and said, you see this arena? You see all these fans that came to watch you guys? 12,461 people. They didn't come to watch you guys bullshit. They didn't come to watch you guys drag ass. Let's play some defense and let's get it together offensively.
The opening quarter was a disaster. Indiana looked sluggish, like they had no plan B. Missed layups, zero offensive rhythm, lazy defensive rotations. It was all unraveling. The Mystics didn't just capitalize, they turned up the pressure. Their message was clear. Without Clark, this team has no teeth, and it was working. The Fever trailed by 15 points before fans even got comfortable in their seats.
Lexi Hull looked the most confident I've ever seen Lexi Hull look. Lexi Hull looked the most confident I have ever seen Lexi Hull look, putting the ball on the ground, taking it to the rack, shooting threes, middies, turnaround fades. Whether they went in or not, we can get into that another day once the season starts. but the fact that she's confident enough in her game to where she's at least willing to try to do something to make the offense happen, to create points, to create confusion among the defense.
Coach White had seen enough. She lit a fire under her squad, calling a timeout that felt less like a strategy session and more like a wake-up call. Her message was simple. The 12,000 fans didn't show up to watch this team fold. They came for a fight. But as the Fever tried to respond, they didn't just need energy, they needed a spark. They needed someone to get angry. That spark came from the most unexpected place.
Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull, these two players. Sophie Cunningham gave us 21, Lexi Hull gave us 13. The Blonde Bombers is what they're calling them. We were down 15 in the first half. Why were we down 15? We cut it to within 3 at halftime.
Enter Lexi Hull. Off the bench and onto the floor, she played like someone with nothing to lose and everything to prove. Hull started flying around on defense, ripping passes out of the air, diving for loose balls and forcing turnovers. She racked up 4 steals and dropped 13 points, but more than the numbers, she brought life back to a team on the edge.
And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before, but this is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet you probably...
Her confidence was palpable, pulling up from mid-range, attacking the rim, refusing to settle. For a player whose role had often been defined as a grinder, Hull looked like a star in the making. Her fearless energy infected the rest of the lineup. Suddenly, Indiana wasn't folding, they were climbing. And that's when Sophie Cunningham got hit. And everything changed.
Probably have 10,000 people here and a real home court advantage.
That's Sophie Cunningham. There you go. I mean, she's right there saying, don't you do that. She's telling the rookie right now.
5 minutes left in the first half. Cunningham moved without the ball, creating space, being a constant thorn in the Mystics' side. Then, in a moment that sent shockwaves through the arena, rookie Kiki Iriafen grabbed her midair and slammed her to the hardwood. It wasn't just a foul, it was a statement. The crowd gasped. Players froze. And then Cunningham popped up like she'd just been challenged to a duel.
And that's Kiki Iriafen, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA. It is.
There was no hesitation. She got in Iriafen's face, barking back with authority. The officials assessed a flagrant one, but it felt like a warning shot had been fired. Cunningham's body hit the floor, but her spirit, unshaken. If anything, she looked more locked in than ever. That wasn't the Mystics' plan. They wanted to break her. Instead, they made her mad.
I mean, yikes. Kiki, the new Kennedy. A lot of people not happy. Demon Sophie, yeah, she showed up. Look at this. They're celebrating that. Okay. I mean, it's crazy. Here we go again. Here we go again. She's yelling while Kiki's laughing in her face. Never seen a rook have a vet so rattled.
But the Mystics weren't done. Later in the game, Brittany Sykes delivered another unnecessary shove, sending Cunningham flying once again. It wasn't subtle, it wasn't basketball, it was targeted aggression. But this time, Cunningham didn't have to stand alone. Dana Bonner stepped in, immediately. A clear message was being sent. This team has each other's backs now.
This was another one right here. This was Brittany Sykes, and DeWanna Bonner got involved in this one. She did. Little standing on business.
What was most telling wasn't just the response, but the unity. Players rushed in, the bench erupted, and the crowd rose to their feet. Cunningham had just been targeted twice, but instead of looking shaken, she looked furious, focused, and ready to respond the only way that matters, by taking over the game.
Oh my God, Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an X factor.
From that point forward, the Indiana Fever became a different team. The energy shifted, The chemistry clicked. Suddenly, this wasn't just about surviving without Caitlin Clark. It was about defining who they were with or without her. Cunningham and Hull, dubbed the Blonde Bombers, by fans, became the heart and soul of the comeback.
Lexi Hull gets a nice steal here, runs down the court, finds Sophie Cunningham, who pumps up the
Drawn on the drive. High arcing pass. It was too high. Hull pulls down the rebound. Here's Cunningham again. Cunningham coast to coast.
What a first half for Sophie Cunningham.
And this is as we've clawed back after being down 15.
Coach White called Cunningham a dog, not as an insult, but the highest form of basketball praise. A dog fights for every possession, never backs down, never quits. And it showed. The entire team rallied behind that mentality. No more soft fouls, no more passive cuts. This team was on a mission to show they could fight, that they wouldn't be pushed around anymore, not now, not ever again.
Sophie Cunningham, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal in 11 minutes off the bench in the first half. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull played a majority of this game for the Indiana Fever. And they played together a majority of the time they were in this game. Sophie Cunningham showed exactly why we brought her in here. We won that trade hands down. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We won the Sophie Cunningham trade.
Then came the masterpiece. Sophie Cunningham dropped 21 points, grabbed 8 rebounds, and shot nearly 55% from the field. From mid-range jumpers to deep threes to clutch free throws, she torched the Mystics from every angle. And with every bucket, she sent a message louder than any confrontation. You picked the wrong person to mess with.
Austin looking backdoor and got it to Cunningham.
You guys know what else we're seeing in all these videos? Movement. AB. Up there comes Kelsey around the top. There goes Lexi Hull, back door. Sophie Cunningham, back door. Lexi Hull goes back out to the corner. God forbid, folks, we are seeing things that we haven't seen at all last season.
Her game was surgical, calm, calculated, relentless, and the Mystics couldn't stop her. The more they hit her, the stronger she came back. And it wasn't just scoring, she was everywhere. Rebounding, drawing charges, directing traffic. She didn't just take over a game, she took over a narrative.
I saw Sophie Cunningham playing out of this world. Made me feel good. I saw ball movement on offense. Made me feel good. I saw no volleyball passes on. Made me feel good. I saw fight from everybody that was on the court at once. There was no 4 versus 5 when it came to fight, heart on the. We weren't lacking that today. We weren't lacking heart at all. And in case people thought this team might be lacking some heart, you got one thing coming to you. You think you're going to be pushing around Sophie Cunningham like that? Don't worry. Sophie, I got this.
By the time the game reached overtime, the Mystics had nothing left. Their 15-point lead had evaporated. Their physicality had failed. Their intimidation had backfired. Sophie Cunningham, the very player they tried to bully, had become their nightmare. And after the final buzzer, there was no handshake line. The Mystics walked off in silence, humiliated.
We have people that aren't going to put up with the nonsense this year. You want to try the Fever? Go ahead and try us. Go ahead and try. 1 through 5. Somebody's going to step up and get in your face. Someone's going to step up and say, you need to relax. Whether it's DeWanna Bonner here or Sophie Cunningham on the bottom of your screen. You mess with this team, we have some people that are going to stand up for themselves and stand up for others.
It was poetic. The team that came in trying to assert dominance ended up exposed. Cunningham didn't just beat them, she embarrassed them. And the crowd? 12,000 strong, roaring with pride, witnessing the birth of a new identity in Indiana. One that starts with toughness and ends with victory.
Well, first and foremost, they play so hard. They play with multiple levels of effort. They're both just tough as nails. They have length. They use their length really well. Their activity level on the defensive end and offensively. I mean, they're like mirror images of one another. I mean, the way that they can cut, the way that they can spread the floor, and what they bring on the defensive end of the floor.
This wasn't just a comeback win. It was a declaration. The Indiana Fever are done being the WNBA's punching bag. This is no longer just Caitlin Clark's team. It's Sophie Cunningham's too. It's Lexi Hull's, it's Dana Bonner's, It's a squad that fights, scraps, and plays with heart, from tip-off to final buzzer.
You want to make sure that your home court is special to you as a team, but you want to make it hard as heck for other people to come in here to Gamebridge, and they don't want to play here, right? And I think with that, as an energy player, you got to get your fans involved. That's our sixth man right there.
And when Clark returns, she's joining a team that now knows how to battle without her. That kind of toughness, built through fire, is what separates contenders from pretenders. The league's on notice. Because this Fever team, they're just getting started. Try to bully them again, and you'll regret it. Just ask the Mystics.